Good morning and welcome to a walk with Tilly, who is disappearing off in the distance. She keeps picking up scents this morning. I don't know, perhaps the atmospheric conditions are just right. Tilly! And then disappearing, but she'll come back. Okay, so thoughts of the moment. Well, I guess I didn't want to comment on it yesterday. I thought I'd leave it time to sink in. So there's been, the obvious thing is the U-turn taken by our noble leader on the 45p tax rate. So she selected one part of her agenda and decided that she's going to remove that from her mini budget proposal. I think my guess is the only reason she's done it is that she doesn't think that she will actually be able to get it past her own MPs, because obviously there's quite a public backlash at a time of economic uncertainty and an enormous cost of living crisis, to turn around and say the wealthy should pay a bit less in tax to support that society. It's not an easy sell, that, even if ideologically you're correct, and I have my doubts. I think that's probably an understatement, because none of the economic data appears to back that decision up, that you're going to get that one through. However, there are other chunks of this where I'm thinking it's obviously an ideologically driven decision-making process. Why? For what is very little return. So, okay, it's quite a big return in terms of, for a very limited number of people, whom I'm guessing are on that list of people that back the Conservative Party. They get quite a lot of money. So 2,500 people would have been shared up £1 billion between them. That's quite a sizable pot of cash, even if you're wealthy. If you're very wealthy, that's still a chunk of change to do, I don't know, whatever you feel you should do with it. But again, quite obviously, there are a big chunk of people that are going to be really struggling going forward at the less financially endowed end of our society. I don't think it's appropriate. But then I'm not sure giving all taxpayers a 1% rebate in their tax, I don't think it's going to make enough of a sufficient difference to me personally, and I am only a lower rate taxpayer, that I can see any real benefit in it. So if you're at the highest end of that section, again, it just doesn't seem like it's a time of boom, maybe. So if there is a lot of cash floating around, and the basic services on which most ordinary people in the UK rely are relatively well funded, then, and you have an ideological belief, you think that the data suggests that reducing tax take in the short term will give a significant enough boost to the economy to mean that in the longer term you have more funds from tax to play with to fund those services, possibly. But when things are really tough, it's very counter the vast majority of economic discussion. Certainly with the exception of the think tank economists, which, unless you disclose who's funding you, I mean literally who's funding you, then how can you consider anything they come up with as being unbiased? I mean, if you're literally talking about being funded by either an individual or group of individuals who stand to be massively better off by reducing the amount of tax they pay, and therefore backing up that ideology by sending out a few bods that you don't have to say you're paying them to say, yeah, actually our data says this, despite all the academic research being counter to that. Why would it be sensible to actually trust the information those people are giving you? I don't get it, and I don't get why this isn't discussed more. Anyway, I think in the round, that's a reasonable thing they've done. It's certainly difficult from a ordinary individual's perspective. Even a couple of billion quid less of cuts to public services in the UK, I think is probably a good thing at this time, a very good thing. I also think that probably that there's still going to be massive tax cuts, massive ones, and they've done the tricky bit of they've got Labour to say they're on board with the same philosophy, and I understand why they've done that. But Jesus, it's going to be unpleasant. It's going to be a very unpleasant period of time. Anyway, those are my thoughts for now. My deep and meaningful ponderances on the subject. Feel free to drop any ideas you may have on the subject in the comment section. Or not. Bye.